Well, I hope you're doing well. And if not, I at least hope that your night improves. So, tonight, I am going to be using the Tower of the Divine. I'm going to be using the Classic Horror Oracle, because I actually quite liked the messages we got last time. And my current favorite deck, the Fablemaker's deck of many things. Hey. Let me take a drink of my tea here. Okay. Okay. I also did realize something too. Something that I would like to do before November. Preferably before October. I know I've talked about it before, about how at some point I would like to get Loteria, or Mexican Bingo, for like a game night, a special game night that we could do like once a month. And I've talked about how there are themed decks, like Loteria themed decks, and I'd like to get those. And I think I want to try to get those decks sometime in October, preferably. At least sometime before November. I would love to get a couple of Loteria themed decks. There's an Oracle deck that's themed around it, and there's also a Tarot deck that's themed around it. And there's also a very cute Sugar Skull deck that I would like to get as well. So, I would like to try to get those before October. Or at least sometime in October. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into collectives. Okay. Darn hiccups. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. We have here the Five of Cups, though this did pop out reversed, but I decided to flip upright when I tossed it. So this is probably where we're at currently here with this Five of Cups upright energy. Just kind of carrying a lot of grief and a lot of pain with us. And we're focusing a bit intensely on this pain, on this grief. And one thing here that I want to point out about the Five of Cups cards. Notice how the figure is pointed forwards, focusing only on these three cups. This is the grief that's being focused on here. Behind her, there are still two cups that are upright, that are standing. This is the good that still exists around you, okay? And that's not to say that, you know, what you're going through isn't valid. It's a reminder not to be consumed by your grief and lose sight of everything else that is still going on in your life. Everything that is still important to you, everything that is still good in your life, okay? Don't forget to still see the good in your life. Okay? Try to work through and process some of the grief and pain and emotions you're carrying. But don't be hard on yourself if you find that difficult, okay? Remember that your feelings are valid, your emotions are valid. And trying to shove those away is not healthy. Trying to pretend that everything is okay is not healthy. Honor those feelings, honor that grief. But don't be consumed by it, okay? Do your best not to be consumed by it. Try to show yourself kindness, okay? There's no need to be harsh on yourself. With this Three of Swords reversed energy, okay? This is calling for self-love. There's no need to be hard on yourself. No need to be overly critical of yourself, okay? You don't deserve that harshness. You don't deserve that criticism, okay? Especially coming from yourself. So, be kind to yourself. You're carrying a lot. And of course, it's going to overwhelm you, okay? So, be nice to yourself. Okay? But don't let those things, again, prevent you from actually seeing the good, okay? This fear and this grief is kind of causing you to kind of lose sight of those things that you love, of those passions, of the things that you enjoy, okay? And it's kind of keeping you small here, okay? Because you're afraid to actually go for those things that you want. You're afraid to lean into those things that you want and that you enjoy, okay? Right now, you need to be bold, okay? Be bold, be brave. Okay? Don't let this keep you from living your life, okay? And I know it's easy to succumb to that fear, okay? And it's easy to tell yourself that it's pointless anyway. There's no point to doing it. And it's not something that's going to work. The effort that you're going to put into this, or that you have put into this, hasn't been paying off anyway, so it doesn't matter, okay? Know there is a payoff. Know that it's worth it. Know that you're worth it. Okay? Life is meant to be lived. Life is meant to be enjoyed. So, I apologize if you can hear the people outside. Wonder of the world, huh? I'm not sure that I've seen that card from this deck. Wonder of the World. The art and entry for this card is based on and inspired by King Kong, the 1933 movie that was directed by Marion C. Cooper and Ernest B. I have no idea how to pronounce that last name. I'm not even going to attempt it because I know I'm going to butcher it. It's probably Shodzak or something, but I have no idea. I'm going to show you the greatest thing your eyes have ever beheld. Focus on what makes you special. Everyone has unique qualities, and you do too. Proclaim your individuality. Shout it from the rooftops. Show the world what only you can do. While attracting attention may lead to misunderstanding, and others try to take you down, bravery can bring admiration and even spark wonder. Going very, very in line with this card here. Very in line with that. And we got an upright, and fittingly, the upright entry for this says, "Fortune favors the bold." So, be bold, okay? Don't let that fear keep you small. My goodness, they're loud out there. I think there's some kids playing outside. That card flipped itself out and then put itself back in. Okay then. That's two cards stuck together. I only need one card, please. Okay. That is still two. Excuse you. Okay. Sun Underworld. Sun. Theme is achievement. Underworld keywords are agency, authority, entrusting, influence, and mystery. The central figure flies high into the sky on 4 feathered wings. Adorned with gold halo-like jewelry and makeup, she is resplendent in the sun's light. She cradles a golden box in her left hand and holds her right above it in a reverent gesture. What rests within the box is known only to her. Even though she treasures her secret prize, the light from the sun behind her reaches with outstretched hands, uplifting and inspiring others. She has earned the reward for her hard work, but when she opens the box, she will surely share its contents. That fits so well with that King of Coins card. And, okay, before we look at the questions, let's roll a dice and see what question it wants to emphasize. 16. Is that question 4 or question 5? I forget. It's 4. I thought it was 4. So question 4 is being emphasized here. Oh. Question 4 is, how could you be a source of inspiration for others? It's very cute. Question 1 is, what would your ideal celebration of your success look like? 2, what is stopping you from celebrating yourself? 3, is there something you can keep to yourself as a personal treasure or source of inner confidence? 4, how could you be a source of inspiration for others? And 5, how can you claim more agency over the situation? Hello! Yes, this deck is called the Fablemaker's Deck of Many Things. And because this is an actual deck of many things, which is a D&D object, this deck can actually be used for D&D games, Dungeons & Dragons games. But this deck was also made to be used as an Oracle deck as well. It's dual purpose. It's multi-purpose and I love it. So, to incorporate that kind of element of tabletop gaming into this deck, they have questions that you can ask yourself, and I particularly like using them as journaling prompts. I like using them as journaling prompts that you can ask yourself and like journal about if you want to, that they call seeds of change. And each question corresponds to a range of numbers, and if you roll within that range on a dice, if you choose to add that element to your reading, then you get a corresponding question that you can use. It adds another layer to the readings, and it's wonderful. And I love it. It's probably one of my favorite decks. Yeah. And everyone, of course, you know, will resonate with different questions. This one, question 4, definitely resonates with me, but, you know, different questions will resonate with different people. So I definitely think this roll was mostly for me, probably. But that's why I just read all of them, because that question might not, for the collectives anyway, that question might not apply to, you know, everyone. But I still like incorporating this element. And that question 1 definitely goes very, very in line with this. The King of Coins energy here from the reading. But anyway, that is our first collective done. So for whoever that message may have resonated with, I hope it helps. Yeah, that's also that's why this is my favorite tarot deck. This deck actually uses artwork inspired by various like stories from around the world, whether that be mythological stories, folk tales, fairy tales, all sorts of things. And it pulls from various this is Tarot of the Divine by Yoshitani. Yes. The 10 of Wands involves a skull, a sprouting skull. Yes. Where is it? But yeah, so it pulls from like a bunch of, yes, there it is. Yeah. It's a tree bursting out of the skull. But it pulls from a bunch of like stories and like folk tales and myths from various cultures around the world. And I love that. And there's an associated storybook too. Yeah, and that card, the art for that card is actually like centered around that very, very concept. The story is about like I think it's a father who goes looking for like their daughter, and the daughter decides to like set out on their own, and like they don't ask for help, and then they end up, you know, they end up getting themselves into trouble and dying, and then the father does the same thing. He repeats the same cycle when he goes to look for his daughter. And yeah. Something along those lines, if I remember correctly. But there's also a companion storybook that goes along with his tarot deck. It's called Beneath the Moon, if I remember correctly. I actually own it. Let me go pull it off my bookshelf really quick. Yes, it is called Beneath the Moon. And the other thing that's wonderful about this book is that it includes, there's a story for every card, and there's a full-size art page of the art on each card. So for instance, this is the art that's associated with the High Priestess in this deck, and I love the full-size art in this book because it gives you a better look at all of the art and the finer details of the cards. Like, one of the best examples of that and like finer details that you might miss. Yeah, there's the Ten of Wands. One of the best examples of the finer details that you can miss, keep tapping that, is the story or the art for the Five of Wands right here, or Five of Swords rather, not Five of Wands. I just passed by the Five of Wands art that was like right there. Yeah, the Strength card is that. Yeah. The Five of Swords is this, which is the myth of Osiris, Set, and Isis. And if you just look at the if you look at the card, there is like a small detail that you could easily overlook, which I kind of giggled about it the first time I saw it. I didn't, well, initially, first off, I didn't notice that all three of them are technically in the art. And there's also a fourth figure here that's featured in the corner, which is Horus, lingering on the horizon. That's visible in the card. So, but all the figures that are mentioned here, that are key characters in the myth, Osiris that involves Osiris, Set, and Isis. All three of them are here, but you might miss it if you don't look closely enough. Osiris is there in the water. In bits. Which you might easily overlook in this card if you're not really, like, focusing on it. And one of the parts that I giggled about when I actually looked at the full art of this card is that there's a hidden penis in this. And I giggled about it. Yup, that's a dick. Because that's kind of a key part of that myth, is that this part was missing. So, yeah. It's not missing the card. I just giggled about that. Because it's so well hidden. And it's not something that you're really gonna notice in the card. Unless you look very closely at it, and it's very silly. It's very silly. Okay. There. Yes. This was actually my first tarot deck. I love this deck. It's a very modern take on tarot symbolism. And it adds multiple layers to the cards to pull from. You can just pull from, you know, like, obviously, like, traditional meanings for, like, tarot cards. You can pull from their own interpretations of tarot cards and their own, like, set of keywords and stuff from the included little booklet that's in it. Or if you want to go more in depth into, like, their explanations about what cards mean, they also have a guidebook that expands upon their interpretations for these cards. And then you also have the artwork to pull from, and the symbolism in that. And if you want to take that a step further, you also have the stories that the art is inspired by to pull from. So there are many layers to this deck that you can get, you know, like, you can get like an interpretation from for this. So there are lots of layers to this deck, and I like that about it. They also recently released a coloring book of, like, a slightly modified to, like, just kind of simplify it and also give it line art, because there isn't really any line art in their art style. So it's essentially like a simplified version, somewhat simplified anyway, version of the art on each card. And they turned them into coloring pages and put all those in a coloring book that they recently put up for pre-order, I believe. I don't think it's fully released. Oh, Hey, I'm sure someone will once, you know, that actually gets released into the world, okay? That's like the wonderful thing about tarot cards and tarot decks. There's someone out there that it's going to resonate with. That there's someone out there who will love that deck. And there are so many decks on the market, whether that be, you know, like published decks, like decks that were, you know, like published through, you know, various publishers that you can find in pretty much any fucking bookstore across the world, just about, in a lot of cases. Or whether that be self-published decks that you can buy from, like, directly from the creators themselves, or on, like, places like Etsy. Though on Etsy, of course, you have to be careful there, because there's a massive problem with AI and all that sort of stuff. But, and I'm sure there are so many other places that, like, people are probably, like, releasing their own, like, decks too. There's just so many decks out there, and all of them are just going to bring something unique. Well, I mean, yeah. It's not it's not Etsy's problem that there's, like, an AI problem there. The only thing that they could do would be to, you know, update, like, terms of service and essentially just kind of put it in the rules that, you know, like, use of things created with the usage of AI are, like, prohibited. But, like, but yeah. They're not the ones to blame because they're not the ones creating them. But there is a problem on Etsy because that space is just kind of being overwhelmed by a lot of AI created products. And that's not just limited to tarot. And AI is becoming a problem in a lot of spaces. Yeah, there are a lot of them, unfortunately. Alrighty. Let's get into our last collective here before I open up the cube. Oof. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Let me put this here. We have the Six of Swords, the Knight of Swords reversed, and the Star reversed. Yeah. It's the Star reversed, yeah. So. And there is definitely a need here to focus on... there's a need here to focus on yourself, okay? There's still some healing that needs to be done here, okay? And goodness, this card right here, there's essentially some sort of obstacle that is just kind of presenting itself, that's kind of getting in your way. This might be just you being really harsh on yourself and being overly critical of yourself. But this also could be coming from someone else, and it's putting pressure on you, okay? There is a sense of pressure here. A sense that you just kind of need to essentially just pick yourself up and get moving, okay? And pick yourself up and get moving and move on from things, okay? And it's that is going to get in your way. Ooh. What did Saripot just block? Whatever it was, this Harry bot just caught it immediately. But, anyway. So it's that pressure, okay, that is essentially creating an obstacle here, okay? Trying to rush along the process isn't going to help you any, okay? In fact, it usually makes things worse, okay? Give yourself the time you need to heal. No one else gets to tell you that timeline and when you should be over it, okay? No one. No one gets to tell you that. Red Cat! Hi! Also, thank you! It's good to see you again. So, Don't let anyone tell you that you need to move on, that you need to just get over it, and that you should be better by now, okay? No one gets to tell you that. And you shouldn't be telling yourself that either. Healing isn't a linear process. It takes time. There are going to be a lot of ups and downs along that process. So, telling yourself that you should be better, you should be over it, it's been such a long time, why does this bother you anymore? Why do you give a fuck? Isn't going to help you any. Give yourself time. Hi, Adam. I'm not sure how much of that collective you caught there, Adam. Okay. Just to give you a quick, like, a quick highlight reel of it, I guess. It's essentially stop bullying yourself about the process of healing. Don't tell yourself that you should be over it by now. And don't let anyone else tell you that either. It's not a linear process. It takes time, and there are going to be a lot of ups and downs. So. Let's see what we got here. Children of the Night. Let's... Do you want to be upright? Okay, it's flipped out mostly sideways. Let's just look at what both sides say, since it wants to call on both. Okay, Children of the Night. Oh, of course it's Dracula. Oh, okay. Just finishing the last collective here. No, you didn't come in late, you're all good. You're actually early, technically. This is just the first collective, or the second collective. As soon as I'm finished with the second collective here, then I'll open queue, so. You're all good, cat. Children of the Night. The art and entry for this card is taken from Dracula, the 1931 film directed by Todd Browning and Carl Freund. Though it appears they're uncredited according to this here. What music they make. Listen to them, your kindred spirits. Those of similar habits and haunts who share your tastes and enthusiasms. Many creatures, humans, bats, wolves, have evolved as social animals who benefit from close bonds that go beyond even the blood ties of immediate relatives. Roam with your pack. It's good for the soul. And for the upright, because that element of the upright is being brought in a little bit, make it a night to remember. The main focus here, though, was on the reversal. And it says, rest. Conserve your energy until the time is right. So. Don't forget to take time for yourself. Okay? Don't forget to take time for yourself. And don't listen to people who are trying to rush you along this process, whatever that may be, okay? No bullies. And that includes you. Don't bully yourself. And tell yourself that you should be over it by now. Oop. Hello. I love that name, by the way. So, let's see what this is. Oh, that's... Okay, no. Sorry. One card. That was 2 cards stuck together. Let's try that again. Okay. We have Don John Overworld. This time. Which I believe is the first card in the deck. Or no. It's one of the earlier cards in the deck. For sure, though. There it is. Okay. Don John. Yeah. There are Overworld editions for each card, which are in full color, and then there are Underworld editions for each card, which are in black and white, with red highlights. It follows the traditional structure of an actual deck of many things. Standard decks of many things either come in 22 cards or 44 cards. This is a 44 card deck, meaning you get 2 of each card, so that way you don't have to worry about uprights or reversals when you're using it as a deck of many things. The theme here is isolation. Overworld keywords are fear, hopelessness, loneliness, inaction, and restriction. Those are all going in line with that reversal of the star here. The Don John confines the mind and the heart, causing us to withdraw from others and into ourselves. While spending time alone can be beneficial, this card represents isolation forced upon us either by outside forces or by our own fears. Though the prison's bars are wide enough to allow escape, some force keeps these spirits trapped. Though each soul despairs separately, they all suffer in common. An ominous figure, the jailer, is not as powerful as it appears. It is bound to this place by its own chains. We can't always choose our circumstances, but we can exercise what power we have to reach out to those suffering alongside us. Perhaps one day, we will find what we need to escape our confinement. Alrighty. That means it's time to roll the dice again. See what question it wants to potentially emphasize for some of us. And that is a 17, which is card 5. Or question 5. Did I say card 5? I meant question 5. So, question 5. How can you adjust your attitude to circumstances beyond your control? Well, you cannot bully yourself, for one. Question 1 is, in what ways do you feel trapped or cut off from others? Question 2 is, are you setting boundaries to honor your feelings, or are you putting up walls to keep people away? 3, what would be the worst outcome of your situation? Is this realistic? 4 is, how could sharing your vulnerabilities with others change your situation? That one's definitely giving accept help from others vibes. And 5, how can you adjust your attitude to circumstances beyond your control? So, remember, whatever you're going through isn't something that you have to do alone, okay? This card also emphasized that a little bit, because this essentially talked about finding your pack. Finding the people that you vibe with. And who vibe with you. So, there will people out there. There will be people out there who get you. Okay, who understand you and who are willing to be there. Okay? So, know that this isn't something that you have to go through alone. And it's not something you have to suffer through alone. So, I hope that message helps for whoever needs to hear it. I know that one's definitely just kind of calling me out a bit, and it's just like, can we not? Why you gotta do me like this, man? Oh, and I was talking earlier to, for those of you who weren't here earlier, yeah, I know that feeling. But I was talking earlier, like the beginning of stream, of like, you know, like how I've talked about how at some point I want to get, Loteria and Mexican Bingo and play that on stream, like once a month. I think I know what I want to make the goal on coffee for. Sadly, no. Something I've been thinking about lately, and something that I've just kind of realized that I wanna do, that I wanna focus on, is not getting, like, the Loteria game to play, but you know how I also talked about how there are decks that are themed around Loteria? I want to get those before October, preferably, but at least before November. So I think that's what I'm going to make the coffee goal there. Because right now it's just, you know, like a general goal just for whatever. But I think I want to make that the goal on coffee to be for getting those Loteria themed decks, because there are 2 Loteria themed decks that I know of. One is an actual tarot deck and the other is an oracle deck, and then there's also a Sugar Skull tarot deck that I would like to toss in with that bundle. Just to be on theme. I would like to get those before October, preferably, but at least sometime before November. Because I think those decks would be fun to use. Yeah, I absolutely want the Sugar Skull deck, yeah, cat. I actually haven't eaten Sugar Skulls. They're mostly for decoration. But like I know they are actually like a sweet. They do make like sweets that you can actually, you know, eat. Yeah, there are edible versions, yeah, but I think they're mostly just used for decoration. Yeah, you can eat them, yeah. But yeah, no, I've actually never had a Sugar Skull, sadly. I would love one though. Like, I mean, who doesn't like? Who doesn't want, you know, just sugar? But yes, the Sugar Skull one, precisely, Cat Master. If not to eat, why make sweet? They're, well, I mean, what are they? They're a decoration that's used for Dia de los Muertos, right? So they're used for decoration, but then after it's over, you can eat them. Oh yeah, of course. There's a reason it's made for, like, there's a reason it's called a Sugar Skull. It's fucking sugar. It's essentially just pure sugar. Which is why you probably shouldn't eat them, but you know. But yes, oh, Q will be open here shortly. I haven't opened it yet, but it'll be open here shortly. But yes, I've been wanting that Sugar Skull Tarot for like a while because it's absolutely adorable, and it looks like it would like legitimately just be like a very sweet deck. No pun intended. It just gives off the energy that it would be a very sweet, kind deck. That it would be a very gentle deck. So that's just kind of the vibe I get from it. And I know the feeling, Rad Cat. I know the feeling. But yes, so I would like to try to get those before November, at the very least, but I would like to try to get them in October because I would like to use them during the month of October. I feel like that would just be like a very fun energy to bring to streams in October. Plus, that's like not a part of my heritage that I like really celebrate anymore. I haven't in like years. I did when I was like really young, but I haven't really embraced that like that part of my heritage in a long time. A long time. So I would like to bring that energy in through tarot decks and oracle decks as a way of just kind of like honoring myself. Because that was a part of my identity that I did struggle with for a long time, particularly through like my late childhood and like teenage years. That was a part of my identity that I struggled with for a long time, because I felt like a bit of an outsider to, you know, others like me, others who were Mexican and who were, you know, Hispanic. I wasn't raised in the same environment that they were, and I didn't have the same upbringing, and I was kind of treated a bit differently for that. Treated as if I wasn't, you know, like actually Mexican, just because of that, and also because I was mixed race. And it's just like, fuck that. Hello. Also, you can call me Evie, by the way. Yeah, exactly. Radcat, exactly. Growing up, I didn't have the accent that most of them did. I didn't speak Spanish as well as they did, and I was kind of treated a bit of it like an outsider for that. By my, you know, by people in my own culture. Yeah. I'm sorry. You saying it like that and saying it that way, it just kind of reminds me of Wally, funnily enough. And I used to have someone in like high school, when I was in high school. Anytime he saw me, he would just say it the way that Wally does. It was just funny. But yeah, I always like to say it's Eevee, like the Pokemon, yeah. Exactly like the Pokemon, though not spelled the same way. It's Evey. But I mean, I also don't care if you spell it like the Pokemon either. Okay, anyway, I need to open queue. So, queue is open. So, you may now join. Have you gotten your edition of the Fablemaker's Deck of Many Things yet, by the way, Radcat? Or are you still waiting on it? Darn. Oh, the queue is for if you want to get an individual reading. The readings that I just did before were just collectives, which means that they're for anyone. If it was a message that resonated with you, you know, good. If not, that's okay too. But the queued readings are individual readings that are specifically for the individual who joins. So, if you join the queue, you can get a reading that is focusing only on you, rather than a collective, which will focus on more than just one person, usually. Okay, but anyway, are you ready, Radcat? Also, I'm sorry that your Fablemaker's Deck of Many Things has not arrived yet. I do hope it arrives for you soon. Because, I mean, as I'm sure you've heard so many times already, it's a wonderful deck and I love it. It is legitimately one of my favorite decks. And I don't know if I've mentioned it, by the way. The artist for, well, the creator for this deck, Yoshitani, they're also the same person who made the art on this one. And they're also working on making their own Oracle deck. So there will be an Oracle deck that is in the same style as this. But they also made the art that is on the Fablemaker's Deck of Many Things. So if it looks similar, that's why. They drew it. The Oracle deck? Yeah. Like, I've always loved their style of art. It's pretty. It's just very pretty. It manages to balance, you know, something that's, you know, like a more simple style with like something that's more detailed. They balance that really, really well. And I love that. Yeah, which fits because, again, like these are... The art on this card, on these cards, are all inspired by various stories from cultures around the world, whether that be fairy tales, folk tales, myths, like anything from around the world, from various cultures. So they're literally stories, and the Oracle deck is going to be the same way. They've already finished the art for the deck. I don't know. I think they've recently finished the booklet, and I think they're in the process of producing it right now. So we should get it late this year, if we're lucky, or early next year. So, soon. Soon. Hopefully. Alright, anyway, let's see what you need to hear right now, cat. You do this. There we go. Okay. Okay. I like how this card almost put itself back in the deck, but then it decided last minute, like, nah. Well, hi. You were just the card that we looked at in the bottom of the deck. Yeah. The cards like to do that a lot sometimes. They just decide, like, nah. Not me, different one. Okay, so we have the Knight of Cups reversed, the Ace of Swords, and the Page of Wands reversed. Okay, so there is there's definitely an element of just kind of like needing to go after the things that you want here. Okay. And there's kind of like a block that's getting in the way. There's a block that's getting in the way here. There's I'm pretty sure it's coming from this energy as well. This is essentially kind of like there's an energy of uncertainty and of fear here, okay? With this Page of Wands reversed here. Essentially, there's kind of a fear that, you know, like, there's a fear of just kind of like going after what you want here. That's just kind of keeping you small and kind of getting in your way a bit here. And potentially I don't know why, but there's kind of like imposter syndrome vibes here. I kind of have a feeling that I get the feeling that you're just kind of afraid that you don't have anything to bring to the table and that your ideas don't really make a difference, that they don't matter. That you're not good enough for something. I think that's just kind of like where that sense of fear is coming in here. Yeah. I know that feeling. I know that feeling. I've been there a lot within like the past year. Especially within the past year. But the past 2 years have been real fucking rough. And it was only just a couple months ago that things just kind of started improving for me in you know, like in certain ways. Like there's still a lot that's not great. But some things have gotten better, so I know that feeling. But just know that your ideas do matter, okay? Your perspective on things does matter. They have value, okay? So if you feel like you don't have anything to bring to the table, per se, know that you do. Okay? So don't let that fear and those feelings keep you from actually pursuing the things that you want, okay? And just going after the things that you want in general. Okay. And with this Page of Wands energy as well, there is that element here of take, like, don't be afraid to, you know, don't be afraid to, like, be bold a bit here, okay? There is that element with the Page of Wands. So. Don't be afraid to just kind of, like, be bold and be brave. Okay? Oh, I know that feeling. I know that feeling. Oh, so hello, Phantom Punk. We have Harvest reversed. But yeah, like, I've talked about it, like, a few times, but, like, I really get in my head a lot about things, and, like, sometimes I feel like there's no point to doing, like, any of this. And then I just get so in my head about it that I end up not. I end up not doing it. And anxiety and those fears end up getting the best of me and just kind of get in the way of me actually being here and doing this. I know that feeling of imposter syndrome very, very well. That is something that gets in my way a lot here. I feel like I'm not getting enough out of things. I feel like what I have to offer doesn't matter or lacks in comparison to like what other people might be able to do. But like, that's the thing, is my readings aren't going to be for everyone anyway, because I focus specifically on shadow work. Of course my readings are going to be different, because I don't really do fortune telling. And that's what a lot of people are kind of looking for and expecting and wanting. And I don't do that. Okay. Harvest. Children of the Corn. That's what I thought it was. Made in 1984 and directed by Fritz Kirch. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. We want to give you peace. Sharing a commitment to a cause, especially one that might seem a little corny to an outlander, can bring a group of people together. Sure, the temptation to demonstrate that you are the truest believer can turn to blood sport, with a cutthroat response to those of shaky faith. But if the harvest is good, it can be worth the effort. Okay, what is standing out to me the most here is this upright, which says working together can bring great reward. The reversed here says when in conflict, as you sow, you shall reap. But this in particular is standing out the most to me. The part about working together here with this upright. And applying that to the reversed, I'm just kind of getting the sense that, like, well, one, you're worried that there isn't a payoff. And two, there's a sense of isolation and not accepting help. Particularly because you feel like, again, it's not really going to matter to anyone, so why would you go to anyone with your problems anyway? And so, in that sense, you just kind of isolate yourself by hiding what's actually going on. Yeah. And I appreciate that, Kat. And I know a lot of the people who have found me are here for that and do enjoy that. But I also understand that because of that, I'm not going to be for everyone. Yeah. Well, if you ever want to, you know, share what's going on with you, and if you need someone who will listen, like, I'm always available to listen, so. Okay. Cool Underworld, apparently, is the card that just, like, flew out and drifted up towards my face. theme is acceptance. Underworld keywords are hubris, impact, innovation, pride, and repercussions. The fool plummets from the sky into a chasm as the sun's arrows pierce their wings. Plans fail, circumstances change, and the unexpected occurs without warning. The figure brings to mind the mythic character of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun. They warn us of the dangers of overconfidence and disregarding the wisdom of others. Though the fool situation appears dire, things may not be as hopeless as they seem. The arrows that streak through them point the way to many possible futures. What we at first perceive as failure can in fact be the gateway to something new, if only we are wise enough to recognize it. By accepting things as they are, and not as we fear them to be, we can clearly listen to the parts of ourselves that will lead us to safety. The fool's expression is one of surprise, not despair. What they glimpse in the space between the rocks may in fact be the path to freedom. Alrighty, so you know what time it is. Rad cat. Dice or spinner? Alright. Let's see if there is a question they wish to emphasize. That is 16, which should be card 4. Question 4, rather. If I remember correctly. Yes. 16 is 4. Ooh. What would you need to feel safe to make mistakes? Are you afraid of making mistakes and fucking things up? Question 1 is, are you ready to accept the fallout of your choices, both good and bad? 2 is, what is working, or what isn't working, and how could you address it? Question 3 is, what could you do to place more trust in yourself? Question 4 is, what would you need to feel safe to make mistakes? And 5, how do you want to react to things beyond your control? So, is there a fear of failure getting in your way? A fear of making mistakes? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling too. So, I get it. I get it. But I hope that message helped. Need to stretch my leggies. Oof, darn hiccups. Good. I'm glad. Okay. It's your turn, Amber, if you're ready. Alright. Just give me one moment. Need to take a drink of tea. Before I've been going to bed at night, I've been cold steeping tea for myself, so that I can enjoy it in the morning when I get up. Been quite nice. This is an herbal blend right now. I believe it's called Wild Orange. It has mostly notes of like very tart orange and like lemongrass and something else that I forget. It's not my favorite hot, but it's really good cold. Because the tartness isn't as in your face. Okay. Starting to get a little warm now. But I know the moment I remove the blanket from myself, I'm just gonna start getting cold. Alright, Amber, let's see what we got for you today. Well. Oh boy. Okay, button. Okay. I also just realized I forgot to check if my fucking camera's actually focused well enough. There we go. So, we have the Ten of Swords, the Five of Swords, and Justice. So, there's definitely just a very trying situation here that's just still kind of, might still be affecting you pretty heavily here. And with the Ten of Swords and the Five of Swords both being present, there is definitely just kind of like this heavy energy of just defeatedness. There is a heavy energy of defeatedness. The situation may have been, you know, like I said, quite a trying situation that just became very heavy, and it's just a situation that's just like very heavy, weighing very heavily on you, that's just like a bit of a burden to carry here, okay? It's definitely the vibes from these two cards, okay? And that may be getting you down right now, and it may kind of seem like there isn't really an end to this, and like there's no end in sight, okay? Because when we're dealing with these like really heavy, difficult situations, it can often feel like it's just going to last forever. And in those moments, this is just kind of all there is. But know that no matter what circumstances are right now and what's going on for you right now, okay, things will be set back into balance, okay? Things will be right again. So, continue just working through this situation to the best of your abilities, okay? Don't put too much pressure on yourself, okay? Don't push yourself too hard. And overwhelm yourself further, okay? Just try to find moments of peace, okay? Moments where you can just kind of distance and distract yourself from this, okay? By taking time for yourself. And also know that these swords, these thorns in your side, will eventually fall away, okay? Yep, in there. Okay. We have egg. I'm actually kind of sad that egg isn't here right now. There's a member of the community that goes by egg, and they're not here currently, and I'm actually kind of sad about that, because they'd probably get a laugh out of this card. And, dude, I mean, clearly, the movie on this card is Alien. Okay. Oop, oop. Shoot. Sorry about that. I accidentally unplugged something. So, The entry and art on this card is inspired by Alien, directed by Ridley Scott in 1979. Oh God, it's moving right towards you is the little quote. It's not always clear that we're only at the beginning of a situation. The stranger the circumstance, the less able we are to predict the way it can evolve over time, with potentially shocking results. The gut-wrenching decisions may be forced upon us when we have limited means with which to respond. But any new encounter, no matter how awful, can prove to be a crucible that helps us recognize our inner strength. The upright for this says, take care when peering into the unknown, which that definitely doesn't fit the situation right now, I don't think. So, what's standing out to me about this card is, the last line here, but any new encounter, no matter how awful, can prove to be a crucible that helps us recognize our inner strength. Know that you will come out on the other side of this conflict and this difficult circumstance stronger, okay? Okay. Well, if that has meaning for you, go for it. But the part that's standing out to me right here is that last line. Just know that you will come out on the other side of this stronger, okay? No matter how difficult the situation may be, and no matter how impossible the situation may be, know that you will come out on the other side stronger. Okay? It doesn't make the situation any easier to deal with, and it doesn't definitely, you know, mean that you fucking deserve it in any way, but know that you will come out on the other side of this, okay? Now there's a fucking weed whacker going on outside. The fuck are y'all doing out there, man? The readout on the justice art? What do you mean? Did you mean like how the interpretation ties into this? If that's what you meant, that's the justice card is being incorporated into this to say that like things will come back into balance again. No matter how impossible it seems, things will be righted again. Oh, this is based on a South Korean folktale of some kind. Let me actually, I did not put the book back. Aww. I'm sorry. Sadly, I sadly know what that's like. I just lost my best friend at the end of last year, so. Actually, I forgot that the booklet for the deck mentions the stories. It is a Korean legend called Amheng Osa. Ah, yeah. Also, I'm sorry, Rad Cat. Seems like we're all really going through it, huh? But yeah, it was losing my friend at like the end of last year that was just kind of the final thing for me that just made everything just kind of like come crumbling down and come to a crashing halt. And 2023 wasn't very much better for me. Yeah. I know that feeling. Okay, so we have full Underworld again. Theme is acceptance. Underworld keywords are hubris, impact, innovation, pride, and repercussions. The fool plummets from the sky into a chasm as the sun's arrows pierce their wings. Plans fail, circumstances change, and the unexpected occurs without warning. The figure brings to mind the mythic character of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun. They warn us of the dangers of overconfidence and disregarding the wisdom of others. Though the fool's situation appears dire, things may not be as hopeless as they seem. The arrows that streak through them point the way to many possible futures. What we at first perceive as failure can in fact be the gateway to something new, if only we are wise enough to recognize it. By accepting things as they are, and not as we fear them to be, we can clearly listen to the parts of ourselves that will lead us to safety. The fool's expression is one of surprise, not despair. What they glimpse in the space between the rocks may, in fact, be the path to freedom. Okay, and for the questions here, would you like to roll the spinner or the dice? If you want to roll. Anyway. Okay. And let's see if it wants to highlight a specific question for you here. That is 18, which is the last question. How do you want to react to things beyond your control? Is the 5th question for Underworld. Underworld Fool. Question 1 is, are you ready to accept the fallout of your choices, both good and bad? 2 is, what isn't working and how could you address it? 3 is, what could you do to place more trust in yourself? 4 is, what would you need to feel safe to make mistakes? And 5 is, how do you want to react to things beyond your control? Okay, so I hope that message helps. And also, before I forget, let me go ahead and issue a last call for Q here. I'll be closing it here in a few minutes, so if there's anyone who still wants to join, you may go ahead and do so. Yeah. Oh. All I'm gonna say about that matter in particular is, of course, just make sure you're being safe about things, and of course, make sure you're being respectful towards whatever energies you're working with or encountering. So. Okay. You're up, Phantom Punk. Of course. Okay. Let's see. What do we have for you today, Phantom Punk? Okay. Okay then. What is our sideways card here? Alright. That wants to be upright. Okay, so there's definitely an element here with this Emperor card, okay? For some reason, there's just kind of like an element of like leadership and authority here with this Emperor card. And in combination with this King of Coins energy, okay, what's coming through is essentially like believing in yourself, okay? Believing that you have what it takes. Being confident in your abilities and what you have to offer, okay? because you do have things to offer, whether you see it or not, okay? So, embrace it. Be confident about it. Confident, just... It's all about being confident in what you've got, okay? Because, like, when you think of, like, someone who is a good leader, you think of someone who is very charismatic, okay? Someone who is very much just in control of themselves and just fully just in themselves, okay? And that's kind of the energy here that you should be embodying, okay? Know your worth. Know the value that you have, okay? Know that you do have things to bring to the table, okay? You have things to bring to the table. Okay, you do have what it takes, so don't tell yourself that you don't. Confidence is key here. It's all about that confidence and believing in yourself, okay? And know that, like, you will... Given the King of Coins energy and just kind of like this here, I do get the sense that this is kind of in relation to, like, work. So know that you do have things to offer, okay? Even if you're not seeing it and even if other people aren't seeing it, you have things to offer. And if they're not seeing it, that's on them, not you. So, specifically, like, I don't know, are you currently searching for, like, are you currently searching for a new job or something right now? Because I get the feeling that you might be, or that you were recently or something. Yeah, because that's what this Three of Wands energy is bringing here. It's about searching, and exploration. So, yeah. So this is doubly true then in that situation, okay? If they don't see your value, that's on them. Don't let a fucking toxic job keep you down. And just tank your self-worth, okay? You have things to offer, whether you're seeing it or not, and whether they're seeing it or not. And if they're not seeing it and valuing you for what you have to offer, that's on them. So, there's the leaf blower again. Or, no, not a leaf blower, a fucking weed whacker. Sorry if that's loud. I think they got closer this time. Okay, know that you have value, okay? Like, what you have to offer has value. You have things to bring to the table, okay? And even though things are difficult, okay? Like, even though things might be difficult right now, okay? just believe in yourself, carry yourself confidently, and just know that you will find success, okay? Because I know job market is rough. It's rough. Okay? And in a lot of cases, it can just be like dead end after dead end. It just leads nowhere. But don't let that get you down either, okay? Do not let that get you down either. Eventually, you will find a good fit. You will find something better, and you will find success in your endeavors, okay? Oh, so hello, my Baba. I hope you're doing well. Nope, okay. Genius. What the fuck is the message of this card, huh? Alrighty, let's see what the... I don't think I've ever gotten, like, ever seen this card, so I have no clue what the message of this is gonna be. So let's find out, huh? Okay. The film that the art and entry for this card is inspired by is Reanimator. Directed by Stuart Gordon in 1985 is when that was released. The quote from the movie here is "Cat dead, details later." Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Intelligence comes in many forms. You can be brilliant in some ways and less so in others. Forging ahead without considering potential outcomes can create a situation where things go to pieces, possibly with horrifying results. And the entry for upright is slow down, keep your head on your shoulders. So, make sure you're not pushing yourself too far, okay? You don't want to overwhelm yourself and just wear yourself out and just potentially burn yourself out, okay? Especially with, current toxic job, okay? You've already got enough on your plate, so don't push yourself too far, but still keep putting yourself out there, okay? And also, I like the line in here. Intelligence comes in many forms. You can be brilliant in some ways and less so in others. So, each of us is unique, okay? We each have something to bring to the table. Some people might not appreciate that, but there are people who will. So. You're just in time, Bree. I was actually about to close the queue. Is it also your favorite sci-fi horror movie? That's awesome. I love that popped out for you then. I love that. Hello, Bree. You also joined just in time because I was about to close the queue here soon. Alright, before I forget, let me actually do that really quick. Because I just noticed we're almost, it's going on like 7:30 almost, so whoopsie. Let me go ahead and close that. Okay. Alright, and let's see. Let's see what the Fablemaker's deck of many things wants to add. That 2 cards, that is 2 cards. These cards stick together a lot. It's because they're shiny. Glossy cards tend to do that a lot. Is that the 3rd fucking time that we've seen the Fool Underworld in a row? That'll make 3 in a row. It is. I caught a glimpse of it as it flipped itself over. The 3rd fucking time we've seen Fool Underworld in a row. This card apparently has words. This card apparently has words. Alrighty. Fool, once again. Theme is acceptance. Underworld keywords are hubris, impact, innovation, pride, and repercussions. The Fool plummets from the sky into a chasm as the sun's arrows pierce their wings. Plans fail, circumstances change, and the unexpected occurs without warning. The figure brings to mind the mythic character of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun. They warn us of the dangers of overconfidence and disregarding the wisdom of others. Though the Fool's situation appears dire, things may not be as hopeless as they seem. The arrows that streak through them point the way to many possible futures. What we at first perceive as failure can in fact be the gateway to something new, if only we are wise enough to recognize it. By accepting things as they are, and not as we fear them to be, we can clearly listen to the parts of ourselves that will lead us to safety. The Fool's expression is one of surprise, not despair. What they glimpse in the space between the rocks may in fact be the path to freedom. So this one is kind of about taking risks. Spinner or dice? If you want to roll, that is. Okay. Let's see. A 7. Finally. That is a 7, right? Hold on. Let me... Yes, that's a 7, because there's the 2 right there. I just wanted to make sure that was actually a 7. So I believe that's question 2. Hold on. It is question 2 that is being highlighted here. So. Oof. Question 2. What isn't working and how could you address it? Question 1 is, are you ready to accept the fallout of your choices, both good and bad? 2, what isn't working and how could you address it? 3, what could you do to place more trust in yourself? 4, what would you need to feel safe to make mistakes? And 5, how do you want to react to things beyond your control? So, question 2 is the one that's highlighted there, which is what isn't working and how could you address it? So, I hope that message helps. And I wish you the, like, all the best. I wish you all the best in your current job search. Because I know that shit's rough right now, man. Of course. Thank you for stopping by. And you too. Alright. The Penguin, if you are still here, it is your turn. Yeah. I know job market's been like fucking iffy for, you know, quite a while now, like quite a few years, but things just got like even fucking worse over the past couple of years. Okay, time to drink tea. Indeed. Indeed, my baba. Hi, Kels. Okay. I'm not sure the other person is here. And it doesn't look like they're in the viewer list anymore. So give him like another minute and then I'll just move to the next person. Oh. I'm sorry. I just closed my queue a bit ago. I don't think the other person is here still, so I'm gonna go ahead and move. Okay, Bree. It's your turn. Ooh, ew. Oh. Okay. Let's see what we have for you today, Bree. That card went flying. Okay. We have the King of Coins reversed, the Queen of Swords, and the Ten of Wands. So, I get the sense that you're kind of being harsh on yourself right now. Viewing yourself in a critical light isn't necessarily a bad thing, but there is such a thing as being overly critical of yourself. Okay? Constantly judging yourself for things that happened in the past mistakes, past failures, things that went wrong. Isn't good. That's very much the not good kind of criticism. Okay. Remember that you were doing the best you could with what you had at the time. Okay. Show yourself compassion. And again, don't worry about the judgment of others. So, okay. Like, be honest with yourself and examine things in a more critical light. Sure. Like, being honest with yourself requires that inspection of yourself in a critical light, yes, but what I just mentioned is very much going overboard and being overly critical of yourself, and that's only going to wear you down, okay? That's only going to wear you down and overwhelm you and just make this entire situation so much worse. Specifically, like I said, like in relation to like everything, just like constantly going over and over in your head about like everything that went wrong, every little thing that you did wrong, every mistake you've made, every failure, okay? Like, that's not good, and it's definitely not something that is healthy or helpful, okay? And it's only going to reinforce this belief that you're not going to find success, okay? It's going to reinforce those issues of self-worth and make them worse. And it's just going to like reinforce all of that negativity around success, okay, and things working out, and yeah. It's just going to reinforce those not so great things, okay? So do your best to be nice to yourself. Okay? Do your best to be nice to yourself. Instead of focusing on all the things that went wrong, focus on all the things that went right. Okay? Counter it with that. Like, what went well about that situation? What successes have you had? What abundance still exists in your life? Where is the good in your life? Animal reversed, huh? Animal. The art and entry for this is based off of the film Island of Lost Souls in 1932, directed by Earl C. Kenton. And the quote for this is, "What is the law?" When dealing with others, assuming one's superiority can lead to cruelty, or worse, the exertion of power by fear or force. The feeling that one is or knows better than anyone else can be mitigated through empathy, recognizing what we have in common with one another. Aren't we all hopeful animals in some form? I'm also going to read the upright line for this as well, because that one stands out to me too. The upright is, what rules apply here? Must they be obeyed? Is there any... Are you putting pressure on yourself somewhere because you feel if you're not doing it a specific way that it's not worth doing? Yeah. The reversed line for this is, instinctive energy need not be impulsive, though it can be. Okay, those popped out separately. Not this card again. Why does this one come out for you so much? It's Night Underworld again. And then we have Throne Underworld. Oh, hey, look! I turned right to the fucking entry! Theme is support. You already know the message of this. Underworld keywords: danger, defensiveness, forsaking, vulnerability, and withdrawal. The knight is a stalwart ally, ever ready to aid a soul in need. Clad in armor, they stand against those who wield power unjustly or cause harm. The sun blazes behind them, banishing darkness and casting their visage in shadow. The knight can be anyone: a friend, a lover, a parent, a sibling, or a stranger. The knight can even be you. The sword they wield is the emblem of the cause they champion. The golden wings on its crossguard represent swiftness and progress, and the sun that encircles its blade symbolizes the absence of ignorance. And the knight's armor protects them, but does not let us see their face. What keeps us safe can also become a barrier between us. Sometimes we need a protector, and at others, it falls to us to pick up the sword for the sake of an ally. When we gird ourselves with compassion and wield a worthy cause, we learn how to stand together against malice and cruelty. So, accept help when you need it, which goes very in line with that Ten of Wands energy there. That's adorable. Alright. Dice or spinner? Been pretty much using the dice tonight. I know. I'm very familiar with that situation. Yeah. Alright. That is a 2, so it's gonna be question 1. I'm pretty sure I remember what this is. Yeah. 1. In what tangible ways can you show up for In what tangible ways can you show up for your friends? But also, how can you accept help from them? Eh? Alrighty. Question 2 is there a balance of give and take in your relationships with others? 3 is what is one way you could practice self-advocacy? 4 is what would it mean to reconnect with someone you've drifted from? And 5, how can you engage with your wider community? So, question 1, the one that was emphasized for you, is all about like how you can show up for your friends, but also ask yourself too, how can they show up for you? And then we have throne. Theme is ambition. Underworld keywords are challenge, enthusiasm, interference, obstacle, and scrutiny. The promise of greatness takes center stage here, as the crown's radiance and the golden throne's splendor invite you to ascend the cloth-covered steps and claim your rightful place. The light from these two symbols of power outshines the monsters that lurk behind them, drawing your attention toward the prize and away from the threat. The monsters grasp the throne and hover in front of it, demonstrating their intent to contest your claim. The lure of power and glory is great, but they can bring new difficulties. Alrighty. All we got for this card. It almost rolled off my desk. That is 11. Is that question 3? I think it's question 3. It's question 3. Have you been enticed and dazzled by a prize, and how can you broaden your point of view beyond it? I would also flip that one on its head as well. Is there one point of, like, danger, of fear, that is also that you're tunnel visioning on and only focusing on that and not what could go right? So, both of those. I would flip both of those questions on their head because both sides of that have value. Where can you show up for your friends? How can they show up for you? What end goal are you hyper-focusing on? What fear are you hyper-focusing on? Fear, anxiety, whatever. What negative aspect are you focusing on? I mean, after all, being critical, examining things in a critical light, means seeing things from both perspectives, from multiple perspectives. Flip the questions around. Ask both sides of it. But anyway, I hope that message helps. Good, I'm glad. Okay, time for more tea. Okay. So, that means it is now time for our closing collective. So, let's see what they want to close us out with tonight, huh? And hope we don't get roasted to a char? 'Cause damn. Today's been a little, man, they've been a little toasty, man. Okay. I saw this card and like, yeah, I love this as a closing message. I love this as a closing message, actually. I love this. I love this, actually. They're not roasting us. They're actually being nice and giving us like an uplifting closing message for once in a while. You fuckers. So, we have the Fool, the Seven of Cups, and the Page of Wands. So, right now requires boldness. Take that leap of faith. Don't worry about the repercussions. Don't worry about the consequences. Don't worry about any of the obstacles or challenges you encounter along the way, okay? And know that there are multiple paths that lie ahead of you, okay? Even if you don't see those yet, there are multiple paths to get to what you want to. So, if one doesn't work out, that doesn't mean it's over. That doesn't mean it's the fucking end, okay? So, don't be afraid to explore those. Be brave, be bold. Explore what's in front of you. Explore what lies ahead. Be curious about the journey, the process, okay? Because that's what matters, not the end goal, the journey itself, okay? Be curious. Explore. Be carefree. Again, don't worry about any of the obstacles or challenges. Don't worry about the repercussions. Don't worry about the consequences, about what could go wrong, okay? None of that matters. Worrying about a future that hasn't happened yet isn't going to do you any good. Okay? If you end up encountering that, then you can deal with it then. Don't worry about those future obstacles or challenges yet. They haven't happened, they don't matter. Okay? Family. Is this... What is this? Is this hereditary? I forget. It is. Family. Hereditary. Directed by Ari Aster? I don't know how to pronounce that first name. Made in 2018. The quote is, "You know you were her favorite, right?" Every family has its favorites, and the hopes and expectations of older generations are often invested in the young. These designs can be made explicit, as if presented in a diorama, or our actions may be driven by a more secretive ritual. Nature? Nurture? It can be difficult to disentangle our own agency from the influence of kin. So, this is all about expectations that are placed on you by others, particularly when it comes from family, because it often comes from family. They expect your life to look a certain way, and if it doesn't fit that, then it's not worth doing, and you shouldn't do it. But fuck that, and also fuck what this upright says. Strive to live up to expectations. No! Fuck that, fuck you! Enjoy your life. That is what matters, because you are the one who has to fucking live it. You are the one that gets to live it. It is yours to live. Yours to make decisions for. Not anyone else. So I don't let family or anyone else put pressure on you or expectations on you for your life or this journey to look a certain way. And also, don't do the same thing to yourself, okay? Again, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. Oh my god. It's the fucking Night Underworld card again. Oh boy. Night. Theme is support. Underworld keywords are danger, defensiveness, forsaking, vulnerability, and withdrawal. The knight is a stalwart ally, ever ready to aid a soul in need. Clad in armor, they stand against those who wield power unjustly or cause harm. The sun blazes behind them, banishing darkness and casting their visage in shadow. The knight can be anyone, a friend, a lover, a parent, a sibling, or a stranger. The knight can even be you. The sword they wield is the emblem of the cause they champion. The golden wings on its cross guard represent swiftness and progress, and the sun that encircles its blade symbolizes the absence of ignorance. The knight's armor protects them, but does not let us see their face. What keeps us safe can also become a barrier between us. Sometimes we need a protector, and at others, it falls to us to pick up the sword for the sake of an ally. When we gird ourselves with compassion and wield a worthy cause, we learn how to stand together against malice and cruelty. Alrighty. Let's finish off with a dice roll to see what question it wants to emphasize, and I swear to fuck if it gives us fucking question 1 again. Okay, that is 10? Yeah. Which is question 3? Question 2. I think it's question 3. It is question 3. Ooh, what is one way you could practice self-advocacy? Self-advocacy. That goes very in line with this. Very in line with this energy. Question 1. In what tangible ways can you show up for your friends? 2. Is there a balance of give and take in your relationships with others? 3. What is one way you could practice self-advocacy? 4. What would it mean to reconnect with someone you've drifted from? And 5. How can you engage with your wider community? So, going along with this card, don't be afraid to accept help if you find you need it. And know that you will, along your journey, which goes very in line with this card too, because I just suddenly remembered the story that's attached to this card art. They find, yeah, sure, they make enemies along their path, but they make just as many friends, if not more. So know that along your journey, you will find plenty of people who will support you. Don't worry about, don't worry about accepting help if you need it, okay? And don't be afraid to ask for help. And seek out the help of others. So, I hope that message helps for whoever needed to hear it. And again, the question for this card too was all about self-advocacy. So how can you show up for yourself? How can you stand up for yourself? How can you advocate for yourself was essentially the vibe of that question that was emphasized with the dice roll here. But yeah. Anyway, that's where I gotta call it here. I need to go get myself some food, and I have more delicious curry waiting for me. And it's gonna be delicious. I'm looking forward to it. So I need to go heat up some curry that I made this morning so I can go eat. And go take care of myself and go relax. Thank you all for stopping by. Whether you joined the queue, talked in chat, or just lurked, I appreciate you sharing your time with me. I hope to see you all again soon, but bye for now.